If you've been struggling with where to even begin when you're designing a website for your small business, this video is going to take you through the process, the preparation, the creative steps that I take all of my clients through. And I think it's going to be really helpful for you if you're just like, I don't even know where to begin. Hello, welcome. If you're new here, I'm Liz Ellery. On this channel, I'm going to be talking all about website design, branding, taking behind the scenes of what it takes to be a business owner and all of the ups and downs, growing your business, mindset, all of those sort of things. But today we're going to be talking about how do you even create a website? What does that look like? And all of the different stages. So I'm actually going to take you through 5 steps that I think it takes when you are building a website, all of the things that you need to be thinking about, because I'm sure you're here and you're just like, where do I even begin? So the first thing that I would say is I would do a deep dive. I would get a big piece of paper and I would go through and I would think about what is my offer? What am I offering? Who are my clients that I'm going to be selling to? What makes me unique? How do I want people to feel when they land on the website? So for instance, I want people to find my website and they're thinking, she feels really friendly. I feel like I could trust her to create my website. You might be a party planner and you've got a website that you want people to feel like your events are really lavish and luxurious. So that's what you want people to feel when they land on your website. You might be a psychotherapist and you want people to feel really calm. So when you come up with these words and the feelings that you want people to feel when they land on your website, that can also make you think about the colors. So if you want it to feel luxurious, you might have gold on there. If you want it to feel calm, you might have soft blues and lilacs rather than like bold reds and yellows. You want to be thinking as well in the deep dive section, like what are the pages going to look like on my website? You always want a home and about and a contact page, and then you want to have your services page. If you're a coach, for instance, you might want to be thinking, do I need a page for the corporate clients that I'm going to be working with and the individuals? If I'm speaking to the corporate clients, I'll probably need to make my copy for the HR person that I'm contacting directly as a company. So the language needs to be different than if I'm speaking to the individual. So really have a little think about what the pages are like as well, and the clients. So sometimes if I'm working with a client, I work with a lot of coaches. So when they are creating their website, they might be thinking about their client. Well, my client doesn't actually know what life coaching is. So I'm going to have a page on my website that's going to be called What is Life Coaching? But somebody else might say, well, the person that I'm approaching already knows what life coaching is. So I don't need to have that as a page on my website. So think about the journey that you want to take your clients through. If you are a jewelry designer, you might want to have a page that's all about like how artisan your brand is and that you actually make all of the stuff in your own studio. And really, that's like a unique selling point of your business. The second step in your web design process is branding. So that's all about your visuals and the shapes, the colors, the fonts, all of that sort of jazz. So when I'm working with a client, I will always get them to do a Pinterest board. So what is Pinterest if you've never heard of it? It's this visual search engine. And you can create boards within there that you put colors in there. Or say if you're planning the interior of your home, you can pin like lots of different ideas. So then you have a board, a visual board, and you can see the direction that you're going in because you're pinning things that you like. So for my clients, I'm going to give you some examples now of things that you can in the search bar you can search for and then start pinning when you like them. You can put in the search bar color palette, shapes, interiors, fonts, logos. If you're doing a photo shoot, you can put personal branding photo shoot or product photo shoot. And then you can get more specific. So if you know, for instance, that you really like Nordic interiors, put in Nordic interiors. If you know that you like autumnal winter color palettes, put that into the search bar. And what you'll start seeing when you collate all of these images, you'll start to see a vibe of what you're aesthetically, visually drawn to. And that will base your brand. And, you might just be like, well, do I do this just for anything? And for me, when I say anything, it should be, if you are a service-based business, it should be about like what personally you're attracted to. What's your vibe? So I always say to a client, if you're a service-based business, if you're going into a room and somebody's meeting you, they feel the energy of who you are and your personality. So visually, you want to get your personality across online, and that's your branding. So it is how maybe your home looks. It is maybe the colors of the outfits that you wear. So I'm going to actually share with you a Pinterest board, because I'm going to do a case study on this video of a client called Joyce, who's a life coach. She used to have a really successful 7-figure business as a dentist in Canada. And yes, she's now a life coach, and I'm going to show you her Pinterest board now. Okay, so this is Joyce's Pinterest board. And sometimes, this is quite a short board. Sometimes I'll have people that have created sections within here. Sometimes they've got 200 images in here. And for me, when I looked at Joyce's, I felt like a sense of brightness and boldness and playfulness. Like she's got a Salvador Dali style telephone there. You have got quite simple outfits, quite structural. I know that I think this is actually her dog there. She liked this cake because of the yellow in there and the mixing of patterns. She loves florals. I really love this image of a floral, and I thought I could bring that into her branding. And then she's also got some words on here just to talk about her values as well. And I think you can also put those on your Pinterest board. Okay, step 3, and that's photographs and images. So whenever you've got a business, you need to photograph yourself if you're the service provider or your products. So in the previous one with the Pinterest board and your branding, you might have a section in there that's specifically for your photo shoot, so you can get an idea of what you're interested in. So if you're a jewelry designer and you are inspired by nature, you might want to have like some jewelry put in the Pinterest bar, jewelry in nature photography. And if you're a life coach like Joyce, you might want to put in personal branding photography outdoors, because she now lives not in Canada but in Scotland. So you want to start doing that. So when I work with a client, I do a lot of research, because I used to do photography, and I'm actually an ex-fashion designer, so I get really into all the styling as well of a photo shoot. So I will go onto Google and I will type in personal branding photographer in Scotland, and then I will get a real feel for lots of different websites that are locally to my client. And I'll be like, is this person going to be able to capture my client? So you will go on there and be like, is this photographer going to capture me? And a lot of people don't like having their photographs taken. It's not something they normally do. So what I would advise you to do is to go onto the photographer that you find, their website, and go onto their about page and see what they're interested in, if any of it aligns with you. I'm actually going to share with you now the photographer that we use for Joyce's website, so you can get a little feel for why I chose her for Joyce. So I found this lovely photographer, and the name of the business is The Brand Photographer. And I just thought that this was really beautiful photography. That is the photographer there. She's Carola. She's lovely. And I just thought I really like the vibe of the photos already. And I think the website looks really nice. There's actually Joyce there. So what I then do is I go onto the about page and I have a little read about the person. So I'm quite spiritual, and I really loved that she spoke about purpose, mission, rooted in nature. And she's into human design, which I massively am too. But I know that Joyce is interested in those same things too. And I thought, when you are working with a photographer that's interested in the same things as you know that they're going to connect with you. And that's really important when you're having somebody take your photos. Step 4 in the process of building your website design is website copy, the words that go on your website. Now, I don't know anybody that likes writing the copy for their website. It's probably one of the hardest things to do, but one of the most important in getting right. So I'm going to show you in a second the copy that I went through when I was doing Joyce's website. But like I said at the start, when we were talking about the deep dive, number 1, that's when you're talking about like what's on your pages, who your client is. When you've got some you should have taken some little notes and things like that. When you're writing your website copy, you can refer back to the deep dive notes about like how you want people to feel, your unique messaging, the pages on your website, like what makes you special. And how you can help people and their problems. So when you're writing your website copy, I do have a guidance when I work with a client. I'm just going to give you, for instance, the homepage. So before you start scrolling on a homepage, you want to hit people, it's called above the fold before you start scrolling. And you want to tell people either, like, you've got two camps, either tell them exactly what it is that you do. So website design for small business owners, that would be me. Or you want to give them an emotive sentence. So what would it be like to have a brand and website that made you feel unstoppable? Something like that. So either one works, but both super powerful in getting across what it is that you do. Then you want to tell your audience a little bit lower, in a bit more detail, what it is that you do. Then you want to talk about the problems that your client's facing, the solutions that you can offer them. You want to then you want to scroll down a little bit further on the page, and you want to tell them like why you are the expert in the field, and tell them your history, a bit of your background, and how you can help them. Maybe some of your qualifications, and then you will want a testimonial on there. So that's a very brief rundown of what you might have on a homepage if you are a service-based business. I'm actually going to do a separate video that goes more in depth into copy, but I'm now going to just take you very quickly through what Joyce's website copy document looks like, so you can have a little, a feel for it. Okay, so this is Joyce's website copy. So what we have here is the main navigation. So that's what appears in the top bar of your website that everybody can see. So we've got a home page, an about page, a coaching page, and a contact page. So they're the four main pages we'll be focusing on. And then in the footer, she's got what is coaching, testimonials, and terms and conditions. So this is a bit unusual for some of my pages that I normally do when I do website copy, but we've got lots of different openings here. But then here, this is the opener that we went with. So she went for the emotive introduction to her website. So imagine the unstoppable confidence you'll feel when you make that change. So because Joyce's background is lots of changes. You know, she used to be a dental nurse, then she trained to be a dentist at age 34. She built her 7-figure practice. She moved from Canada to Scotland, retrained here with all of the tests and exams to be a dentist here in Scotland, then went back to Canada and came back to Scotland. There's lots of change, and she's now a life coach, and there are other things as well in her history. She then talks about how she helps people through one-to-one coaching. She explains what life coaching is. Then she introduces herself, and she positions herself in a way that she talks about all the different changes she's had in her life. And then she inspires people here to say, are you ready to rise to the challenge, be seen and find your joy, embrace your confidence to finally do it? Book a discovery call with me here. So it has a call to action at the end of the page. I'm not going to go into all the other pages, but you can just see here what a website copy document looks like. And as I said, imagine the unstoppable confidence you'll feel when you make the change. This is Joyce's website, and this is the title here from her website copy, so you can see how the two correlate. And finally, we have step 5 of the 5-step process about creating your website for your small business. Now, this is all about design. So I'm not actually going to go through like how to build your website and the technical, like this is the platform to use. And I'm going to show you how to add a header and a banner and the text and all of the technical side of things. I wanted this to be more of a holistic process of like, where do you even begin? And I really hope that this has been helpful for you. But now I'm going to show you the design aspect so we can get all of the deep dive, the USP, you know, your unique selling point, the brand strategy in Pinterest board, the photographs, you can see that coming together, the copy. So you can see all of these different pieces that help you actually build your website at the end of it. And you can see this coming together now. Okay, welcome to Photoshop. So I know I'm a designer, but I'm just going to show you this is how I do it. You can do this in Canva, which is a really easy to use graphic design tool. And you can do the exact same thing in here. So what I did was Joyce had her photographs taken here. So you can see that they're very bold and colourful. And then she had her photographs outside, and she does have some with her dog as well. And then I went on a website called creativemarket.com, and I found this beautiful graphic of a floral, which I know that Joyce really loved because I asked her. And then I loved this image of the duck, and I wanted to definitely get that yellow across and that bold blue, and also a little bit of the pink. And in the website design platform that I use is called Squarespace, and you normally have like 5 images on 5 main colors that you can use. But if you include shape boxes or button colors, you can have a few more different colors. So I added in a yellow and a pink as the highlight color. Now I'm just going to go over and show you some screenshots of websites that I've built for a homepage for Joyce. So when I was looking at all of this, I was like, which one visually do I feel is the strongest? And I started off with the left one, and I felt like it needed a little bit more pattern. So I added this pattern box here on the second one, you can see. And then this one didn't have a floral thing here. So I thought, what would that look like with a little bit of the floral imagery there? And then let me just zoom in case you can't see this. So this was quite simple. And that's when I thought, well, I'm going to add a floral box here because that's going to look really beautiful. And then this bit, I thought that looks a little bit simple. So I'm actually going to add in a bit of floral there. And then I felt like there was just something a little bit too plain about this. So what I did was I added in a strong, bold blue, dark blue next to the bold purpley blue here. And this is the homepage that we went for Joyce in the end. I hope you really like it. And just to take you through that was in Photoshop that I just showed you the design so you could see the visuals at a glance. This is the back end of Squarespace. So if you've not used it before, it's very intuitive. And on the left-hand side, you can see the different pages and all of the analytical settings and stuff like that in the back end. So we've got the home page here. I think there was I created a second home page just for this tutorial, just so that I could show it you here. And then I'm going to click on this little paintbrush here, and that's the site styles. So you can see here, there's no yellow in the coloring, but I added them as a shape block here. But you can see you've got the headings. So we used a serif font, which is more of a handwritten font. And we also used for the body of the copy a sans serif, which is more of a computer style looking font, like a typewriter font. So you can go in here and look at all the fonts, and then you can go in here and look at all the different colors that we used. And like I said, we added highlights through the floral pattern, through bright yellow color boxes, and also Joyce's colors that she wore in her clothing. I really hope that's been helpful for you today, and you've got a lot through me showing you the 5 different processes. And I've also got a video, I'll pop it in the link below, and maybe it'll link up with this video, where I've actually interviewed Joyce just to talk about her transition from her 7-figure business to starting her coaching business, how it was so different. And you can get a look about her last year in business and a behind the scenes and what she was looking for when she was getting a website and all the other different things that you don't know about when you're starting a business, not just getting a website. So if you're interested, please watch the video, and please join I'm going to pop a link below to join my newsletter if you want to get weekly tips and tricks about behind the scenes of my business and also branding and website design.